The lobby smelled faintly of polished wood and fresh coffee. High ceilings stretched above, dotted with lights that hummed softly. People in sharp suits strode across the marble floor, their heels clicking in rhythm like a well-rehearsed orchestra. And there, standing near the reception desk, was Amara, the new intern. She kept her hands clasped tightly in front of her, the sleeves of her oversized cardigan almost covering her trembling fingers. Her wide eyes followed every movement, every voice. She felt invisible, and maybe that was a relief. "First day?" a receptionist asked with a polite smile. Amara nodded quickly, avoiding too much eye contact. Words always seemed to get stuck in her throat. But then, the glass doors slid open. A visitor walked in, an older woman with kind eyes, carrying a folder clutched to her chest. She looked around nervously. When the receptionist asked, "Can I help you, ma'am?" the woman simply shook her head, pointed to her ear, and mouthed silently, "I can't hear." A pause. Silent. Heavy. The receptionist froze for a moment. Another employee whispered, "We don't have an interpreter here today." The woman's shoulders sagged. She fumbled with her folder, papers slipping out, scattering across the floor. Amara's heart thudded. She felt the weight of the moment pressing on her. Everyone else seemed too busy, too uncertain. She took one step forward, then another. Her palms sweated, but her hands, they remembered. Kneeling down, Amara gathered the woman's papers and signed slowly. "Hello, are you here for an appointment?" The woman's eyes widened. Her lips trembled into the faintest smile. She signed back quickly, gratefully, and just like that, the lobby disappeared. It was just the two of them, hands dancing, faces softening. But Amara didn't notice the tall figure in the corner, watching quietly, arms crossed, expression unreadable. The CEO. Silent moment. The hook was set. Who was this visitor? And why was the CEO so interested in an intern who had barely spoken a word all morning? The woman's papers trembled in her hands, but now there was hope in her eyes. She signed back eagerly, and Amara caught the shapes, the flow, the rhythm of her fingers. For years, Amara had practiced in secret. Her younger cousin had been deaf, and she remembered sitting under the dim glow of a bedside lamp, tracing the alphabet with her hands. Tonight, that hidden skill was finally alive. "Appointment," the woman signed. "Research department. Meeting." Amara's lips curved nervously. She nodded, then turned toward the receptionist. "She's here for research. Do you know if—" The receptionist blinked. "Oh, let me check." She picked up the phone, fumbling with the buttons. Amara stayed with the woman, still signing slowly. "Don't worry. We'll help you. You're not alone." The woman's eyes grew glossy. Her hands shook as she signed. "Thank you. People usually just walk away." Those words hit Amara like a stone in the chest. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. How many times had this woman been ignored? How many doors had closed? Silent moment. In the distance, footsteps echoed against the polished marble. Heavy, steady, deliberate. Amara didn't look up, too focused on the visitor's trembling hands. The receptionist held out a visitor's badge. Amara smiled, slipped it gently around the woman's neck, and gestured toward the elevators. The woman laughed silently, a burst of joy no one else seemed to notice. But the tall figure in the shadows noticed everything. From the mezzanine above, Mr. Harrington, the CEO, stood still as stone. His sharp suit blended into the dim glass railing, his eyes unreadable. Employees hurried past him, unaware of his presence. But he didn't move. He only watched. "Interesting," he murmured almost to himself. Amara guided the woman to the elevator. Just before the doors closed, the visitor reached out, squeezing Amara's hands with surprising strength. Her silent gaze said more than words ever could. Gratitude, recognition, trust. The doors slid shut. Silence filled the lobby again. The receptionist finally exhaled. "Wow, Amara. I didn't know you knew sign language." Amara tugged at her cardigan sleeves, embarrassed. I don't usually talk about it." She didn't notice the CEO's reflection in the glass panels of the upper floor. Still watching, still silent, his fingers tapping against the railing. Another pause. Heavy. Suspenseful. Why was the CEO so focused on an anxious intern who simply signed a few words? What secret lay beneath his interest? The office floor above the lobby was hushed, almost too hushed. The hum of printers, the muted clicks of keyboards, the faint aroma of roasted beans from the break room, all blurred into the background as Mr. Harrington leaned on the railing, his eyes narrowing. He had seen thousands of interns pass through those doors. Bright ones, ambitious ones, arrogant ones. But this girl, shy, quiet, almost invisible, had just done something that silenced an entire lobby. No rehearsed speech, no flashy gestures, just kindness. He whispered under his breath, "Who taught you that, little one?" Downstairs, Amara sat at a corner desk, her hands still trembling. She kept replaying the woman's grateful smile in her head, that warmth in her chest. It was rare. Felt like she had done something that mattered. But then came the voices. Two other interns leaned against the copier nearby, whispering just loud enough. "Did you see her?" One smirked. "Yeah, acting like some hero. She probably just watched a few videos online and wanted attention." The words sliced through Amara like paper cuts. Her fingers tightened around her pen until her knuckles whitened. She kept her head down, pretending not to hear. But inside, she heard every word. Silent moment. "Amara!" The sudden voice made her jump. She turned, heart skipping, and found a tall man in a perfectly cut suit standing behind her. His eyes were piercing, his presence overwhelming. The CEO. Hello, sir," she stammered, her throat tightening. He studied her for a long pause. Too long. His silence was heavy, his gaze unshakable. Finally, he asked softly, "Where did you learn to sign?" Her lips parted, but no sound came. She fiddled with the edge of her notebook before whispering, "My cousin. He was deaf. I wanted him to feel seen." The CEO's jaw tightened just slightly. His eyes flickered, as if her words had unlocked something buried deep. For a second, Amara swore she saw pain flash across his face. Then it was gone, hidden behind his usual mask of power. "Good," he said simply. Then he walked away. She blinked, stunned. That was it? No lecture, no scolding? Just one word? But why did he look haunted? From his office upstairs, Mr. Harrington closed the blinds and sat heavily in his chair. His hand lingered over a framed photo tucked into the corner of his desk. His daughter. Her bright smile stared back at him. And yet, in the picture, her hands were lifted mid-motion, frozen in a sign only he understood. He whispered, voice breaking, "It's been years since anyone signed in this building." Silent moment. Could it be that Amara's small act had touched something personal, something hidden in the CEO's past? The next morning, the lobby buzzed again with hurried footsteps and ringing phones. But Amara walked indifferently, her shoulders still hunched, yet her eyes carried a quiet glow from yesterday's moment. Still, whispers followed her. Why did the CEO talk to her? Maybe she messed up. No, he looked impressed. Each rumor crawled into her ears, but she said nothing. She sat at her desk, clutching her notebook like a shield. Then came a message. "Intern Amara, please report to the 20th floor. CEO's office." Her heart dropped. The pen slipped from her hand, clattering onto the desk. Everyone stared. Silent moment. She stepped into the glass elevator. The city stretched behind her in gleaming towers as she rose higher and higher. Her reflection trembled in the mirrored doors. Why me? What did I do wrong? The doors opened. The CEO's office was vast, lined with shelves of books and walls of glass overlooking the skyline. Mr. Harrington stood by the window, his back to her, hands clasped behind him. "Come in," his voice rumbled. Amara's throat dried. "Why, yes, sir." He turned slowly. His face was unreadable, yet his eyes seemed softer than before. He gestured to a chair. "Sit." She obeyed, clutching her sleeves. After a pause, he asked, "Do you know why I called you here?" She shook her head. too nervous to speak. He reached into a drawer and slid out a photo. A little girl, smiling, her hands frozen mid-sign. "This was my daughter," he said quietly. His voice trembled just enough to betray the weight of his words. She was deaf, brilliant, brave. But he stopped. His throat worked, but no words came. He turned away, staring at the city below. Amara's chest tightened. She wanted to say something, anything, but silence filled the room. Finally, he whispered, "It's been years since anyone signed in this building. You reminded me of her." Amara's eyes stung with tears. She didn't know what to say, but instinctively her hands lifted, forming slow, careful signs. "She would be proud of you." The CEO froze. His breath caught. His eyes glistened. Silent moment. What would a powerful man, so used to commanding rooms, do when an intern cracked open his most guarded wound? The days that followed were different. The whispers turned to admiration. Some employees approached Amara shyly, asking her about sign language, curious to learn. The receptionist even practiced a few words at her desk. It was small, but it was spreading, like ripples from a single pebble dropped into still water. Then came the announcement. At the end of the week, the entire staff was called into the auditorium. Murmurs filled the room. Amara sat in the back, as she always did, shrinking into her seat. The CEO walked onto the stage. His presence alone silenced the crowd. "Most of you know I don't often address the company this way," he began. "But something happened this week that reminded me of what leadership really means." His eyes scanned the crowd and landed on Amara. She froze. Her pulse hammered in her ears. "This intern," he continued, "chose kindness when no one else moved. She used sign language to welcome a visitor without knowing anyone was watching. What she didn't realize is, she reminded me of my daughter." A hush fell over the room. Some gasped. Some looked down, ashamed. The CEO's voice cracked as he went on. "From this day forward, we will launch a company-wide program. Every employee will have the chance to learn basic sign language, because no one should feel unseen in these walls again." Thunderous applause erupted. The sound shook the room. Amara's eyes blurred with tears as coworkers turned toward her, clapping, some smiling with genuine warmth. She covered her face with her hands, overwhelmed. And in that roaring moment, she realized her small act, born from shyness and compassion, had changed the culture of an entire company. Later, in the quiet of the empty lobby, Amara lingered near the doors. The CEO passed by, pausing briefly. He didn't say much. He just nodded to her and signed one word. "Thank you." Silent moment. The glass doors slid open, the city's evening wind rushing in. Amara stepped outside, her cardigan sleeves brushing against her palms. For the first time, she didn't feel invisible. She felt seen. What do you think? Can one small act of kindness really ripple out and change the lives of many? Have you ever seen something like this happen in real life? Share your thoughts in the comments.